Before we start this podcast, I want to definitely remind you of a sponsor for Fresh of the Word, 20 by 20 Apparel. Founded in 2015, 20 by 20 Apparel brings original tributes to pro wrestling's classic arenas, moments, and events. They look to spotlight the bloopers, bleeps, and body slams along with the biggest, smallest, strangest, and strongest. In the world of wrestling where there's hundreds of shirts, promotions, flyers, social media accounts, and ads, don't get lost in the sea of parody shirts and display fonts. They can provide professional graphic design services at a reasonable price. 20 by 20 also hand screen prints all the tees in-house. So if you'd like to discuss a possible run of tees, posters, koozies, foam fingers, or even Zubaz, then drop them a line at 20by20apparel.com. That's the number 20x, the number 20apparel.com. And also check out their enamel pin line. It's super cool.
Fresh is the word.
I'm Jim Duggan, got long wood for plenty, boy. I keep it fresher than fresh, but you already know. You suckers bummy, I'm money, I got a ton of flows. My weed loud like a motherfucker on the roll. It's shit like you ballin' on a budget though. We see your kicks and we laugh and yellin' what are those. You see me shining like a suit on puffy. You know my condition, I was too strong, buddy. That's why the dude call money. I be stuntin' like it's nothing at all. Cause it's nothing to me, it's probably something to y'all. Trying to smoke like me, then come with the dog. Got a closet full of kicks, you can't cop it tomorrow. And I'm fresher than the freshest, you can tell it's in my essence. It's either way I'm rapping, yes I do. This shit until I'm running out of breath, or tell somebody cut a check. But either way you know it's fresh, and either way you know it's fresh. Fresh, we fresh. Fresh, 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 fresh. Women like we fresh. Fresh, fresh, man, like me, we so fan fresh.
All right, welcome to the Fresh of the Word podcast. I'm your host, Kelly K. Fresh Frazier. And we got a fresh guest for this episode. We got James Delisco Beeks, who plays Judas on the current touring musical of Jesus Christ Superstar, the 50th anniversary tour, that is. Thanks for joining us today. How you doing?
Great. Thank you for having me.
Cool. How did you, first get linked up with this touring production of Jesus Christ Superstar?
Well, I auditioned. I sent a video in earlier this year, and then when I got a call back for the casting team, then I got a call back for the whole creative team, and I think I was the first person cast back in March of 2019. And I've actually done the role before, and I was, so I came a little bit prepared in the auditions. With this particular production, Tim Rice, who was the lyricist, gave voice to someone who hasn't had a voice for centuries, and especially now since the Gospel of Judas was found. I did a lot of research on the character and the archetype, and growing up in Judeo-Christianity, I was one that thought that he was the villain, but now I'm looking at it differently, as he had to do what he had to do, and so I want to get that nuanced story out. Just the question, is Judas? Should we look at him in a different light? Is he forgivable? Because without his actions, the whole plan of salvation wouldn't have been achieved. So hopefully that translates in the show.
This is the 50th anniversary of Jesus Christ Superstar. What is it about this story that has been so great throughout these years that people still want to, see this show and be a part of it?
Yeah. With this, it's the music. I mean, with this particular production, we're going back to the Brown album. A lot of people don't realize that this was a concept rock album before it was ever a stage show, and it went number one on the Billboard charts, and then they later made it into a stage production. And so we're going back to the roots, which is the music. The music is so driving and powerful, and just a pleasure to listen to. So I feel like if you close your eyes during the show, we could we're emulating to the best of our abilities the Brown albums, and it's the music that's mostly the foundation, and then the story itself is a timeless story. I mean, if you get a story out of this particular production, it's an added bonus. We're more focused on the music.
From just like the creative team standpoint, what did they do to sort of go back to the roots and make this production as authentic as possible?
Well, it's when you see it, it's more like a rock concert,
yeah,
as opposed to scene to scene, from one character. It's more there's handheld microphone stands. I mean, although it is a traditional musical theater piece with costumes and that kind of stuff, it's kind of an edge of it with the stands and also it's a dance concert. The ensemble, they're dancing, and it creates a whole nother character. The people that praise Jesus at the beginning as a mob that tears them down at the end. And it's just a really, I think that in particular is a look into our society, maybe humanity as a whole, but with that, the whole cancel culture and that kind of thing. It's kind of, art imitates life, but it's a lot jammed in there.
Talk more about how this, how Jesus Christ Superstar is just in regards to the themes of the story is very timeless and can still relate to society today.
Yeah. Like as I was saying, with this whole mob mentality that's going on today, and it's just a reflection of that. Hold on one second.
Okay.
I'm gonna. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a reflection of our time, and like the music of the show. It's 50 years and it still stands today. So there's a testament to music today. It's you just want to I don't know how anybody can sit down during the show, but it's the music and the story it's together. It's such a timeless combination.
How did you first sort of get into music and being a performer in theater? When was that sort of that itch? When did that start?
I never spoke a word till I was 5 years old. I was a really shy kid, and I was in 4th grade. I remember it was my turn to lead the class in the Pledge of Allegiance and national anthem. And when I started singing the national anthem, how it gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
I just, my voice just was going. I didn't know I was just singing, and then I just noticed the class stopped singing, and everybody started listening. And then after I was done, the whole class, I got a standing ovation, and my teacher suggested I enter the talent show that year, and I did. And and that was it. I was a 9-year-old, and I sang "Ben" by Michael Jackson. And people were crying, and I thought to myself, that's kind of cool. I think people can hear me, So that led me to Performing Arts High School from 8 to 12. I went to a school called Douglas Anderson School of the Arts in Jacksonville, Florida. And it was one of the best times, I remember I had a great time in high school because I was, using my creative mind and being able to sing and dance. And I get graded for it. So, that was how it started.
Right. You're like, yeah, screw all these other subjects. Like, I can get graded on some stuff that I like to do.
Right? I mean, who needs algebra? I mean, come on. I haven't used algebra. People don't pay me to go see me do algebra. They pay to hear me sing. So.
Right. After going to, performing arts school, what did you do after that? How did you really just start to, get your career going?
It's been off and on. I started did cruise ships and theme parks and stuff like that, and worked my way up. I was afraid to move to New York for a while, but I, did it, and luckily, I had a interesting story. I saw Billy Porter went on TV years ago when he was on a show called Star Search, and I thought, oh, I want to sing like that. And I moved to New York, and I was auditioning. I wanted to audition for a show called Smokey Joe's Cafe.
Okay.
And I was walking in the duplex. I'm sorry, I was walking in the Village, and there's this piano bar called the Duplex. And I heard a familiar voice. I walked in, and it was Billy Porter, and I introduced myself. I was 10 days living into the city, and I said I'm a fan, and I said I'm a singer. He said, "You're a singer? Get up and sing." So I got up and sing. I guess he was impressed. I didn't know he was in the show that I wanted to audition. He was in the show, and he said, "Come by the theater, bring me a picture resume, and I'll give it to stage management, see what happens." So I did that, and 2 weeks later, I got a phone call to audition. This green little kid with all these New York singers and actors, and next thing I know, I'm on Broadway thanks to Billy Porter.
Wow.
And I replaced him, and it's interesting because he did Kinky Boots, and I just finished Kinky Boots. So I'm kind of following in those footsteps. So that's kind of a long story short.
Wow, that was such like a Broadway story, man. Like
Yeah.
that sounds like something you'd see like in a movie or a TV show or something.
Yeah, I'm writing. It's in my book. I'm finishing my book hopefully this year, and I got tons of stories like that.
Yeah. Talk about your book. What's that going to be about?
It's entitled HisStory. I wanted to release his story, and it's an American musical. It's American novel. It's memoirs about my life and how I got to this point. For a kid whose first memories are being in the foster care system, I just feel privileged to be able to have a voice and be an inspiration to kids who've been through things that I've been through or worse, and to know that you can overcome things, hurt in your life and that kind of stuff. So, but basically a lot of those stories and interesting tidbits about my life. So I'm looking for. Hopefully, I'll finish it this year, and I want to get it released soon.
Right.
This year, maybe next.
What sort of obstacles did you have in your life that you want to share with people to make them feel a little bit more comfortable about? Yeah, we all go through this.
Yeah. Like I said, my first memories are in the foster care system. There was a lot of traumatic abuse, and earlier in the interview I said I never spoke a word till I was 5 years old. I was forced not to speak or cry under threat of abuse, and I didn't know that those things were not normal.
Yeah.
And I look back on those things because I forgot about a lot of that, and I suppressed a lot of things, and then those memories came back, and so that's why I started writing the book, because I don't know how I got out of that alive. From the time I was 1 to 4 years old, I was in a lot of vulnerable positions. As a baby, I don't know how I got out of those things, but I got out of them. I'm here to tell the story. So that's what my book is. And I wanted to really reach out to kids and adults who have been through traumatic abuse and know that they can overcome. And if I can do it, they can do it too.
Right. Yeah, I always like to that saying I always hear, where you're like, be the person that you wish your younger self had around.
Yeah.
Like what does that mean to you?
That's a very poignant. Actually, that word. mantra, I guess. And like, yeah, I would hope that I am that person, you know, and I think that I am. Although I do, you know, there are ups and downs in this business and stuff like that, and I think that I got there as fast as I wanted to, but I think, you know, I strive for it every day, you know, and that's a great inspiration to have, and, you know, in that mindset. And I totally agree with that.
Yeah, you just mentioned about, you know, maybe you didn't get to where you want to be as fast as. There's been some like discussions on social media about people who have got their big break later in life. You know, what's your thoughts about just the way that people, you know, just the timeline in regards to people finding their success in life?
Yeah, I'm glad that I didn't have fame, you know, in that time. For me, it's kind of a mixed bag because I really loved my anonymity because I had time to figure out who I was.
Right.
When I didn't have parents and that kind of stuff and a foundation. Here's another tidbit. If I would have said yes, there would not have been a Justin Timberlake as you know it. I was asked to be in a group called NSYNC, and I turned it down. And I think it's because something held me back. And I'm glad that didn't happen. People say, aren't you, you know, like bummed that didn't happen? I was like, I think about it, and I wasn't ready for all that fame at that time.
Right.
You know, I see a lot of the young kids, and I think it's kind of a crime for kids, me personally, to be too famous too soon.
Yeah, it's a lot to deal with.
You're not undeveloped human being, and you have the whole world. You know, like Michael Jackson. Like Michael Jackson's a big inspiration in my life, and like I just see how this, you know, young kid that, you know, we just took from him, and the same society that brought this kid up is the same society that loved to see him, you know, torn down. It's just like what in Jesus Christ Superstar. At the beginning, the mob, they love him, and then at the end they're chomping at the bit to tear him down, you know. So, and I've seen that so many times with young kids who become famous and then they burn out. So, pacing, I can handle fame and fortune now more so than I could back then. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, definitely.
That's just my view on it.
Yeah, like the level of fame that some people have, that it's humans are not built to receive all of that sort of attention and stimuli and everything. Is just too much, you know.
It is.
It totally is. So that's why you see people, you know, sort of, you know, breaking down or disappearing or, you know, just having to go away or making mistakes because we're not built for that shit.
No, it's true. And you can, like, especially as a young child, you know. So and we're so obsessed culture, but I think it's time to look at experience more so than cute.
Right. I also see that you re-released a single recently, Lock You In. Talk more about your music.
Yeah, that was a re-release of a song that has been heard over 17 million times. It was a single from the trailer for the movie 50 Shades of Black. It was released in 2015, and just re-released it last month. And got a video out too. This actually has over 30,000 views now, which is really cool on YouTube. And yeah, it's I'm gonna be releasing a lot more music while I'm on tours here too. So that one's out. Lock You In out. It's out on all online digital streaming platforms and stuff. and it's a great song. I love it, and
Nice.
I love creating. So yeah, I'm
When
looking forward to if you guys hearing that.
right when you're whether you're on Broadway or on this tour with Jesus Christ Superstar or just performing in any way, sort of, what do you get out of like the vibe from the crowd? How does that make you feel?
It's there's nothing better than that instant gratification, and that the adoration. I get to have it 8 times a week. It's kind of a high, it's kind of a drug, but it's amazing, especially when the crowds are hype and they're looking for. We have some really good audiences here in Iowa, and we like it when people make noise and the fans come in and they know what to applaud, that kind of stuff. There's nothing like it. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, talk more about those crowds. Like what's the reaction still to Jesus Christ Superstar? What sort of things do you see?
Well, there are a lot of diehard fans for the show. They know the show right and left, and they we get a lot of that, especially in like in LA. It was like rock concert every night, and that's just the best feeling. But sometimes we get our more subdued crowds who just want to listen and enjoy, which is totally fine. Each night is different, and that's a cool thing about this. So a lot of people say, how do you get, how do you not get bored doing the same thing every night? It's just the energy of the crowd sometimes, and that gets us through.
How do you, kind of expanding on that, how do you sort of keep things fresh, just at least in regards to your character, throughout each night doing this over and over again? Other ways that you kind of keep it fresh?
Yeah, I mean, it helps that I love the piece and the people that we work with. And I challenge myself, even if it's not this role, I challenge myself. Back when I was on Broadway, I challenged myself to be better than I was the night before, to try to find something more nuanced, more, more clear, to be more clear, and not many opportunities you get to, make, correct your mistakes. You know what I mean? So it's that. It's just a challenge for me personally to be a better character, be a better person each day.
Right. And for people who have never seen or never heard Jesus Christ Superstar before, if they're coming out to the show, what would you say to expect?
Well, I mean, if you don't know anything about it, I don't know if people, it depends on what people, some people like to go in blind. I would say to you, you know the story, that's helpful because there is a story there. But I would say brush up on the listen to the album so that you can get the lyrics and know what's going on. Because it's a rock opera and it's all sung through, so it would be helpful to know what's being said. I mean, and you don't have to do that, but it's because it's such a visual show. The dancing, the lights, it's like a rock concert lights, and you just sit back and just enjoy the music,
Right.
Like I said, it's the foundation of this is the music, but if you get a story out of the music and the dance, and if you get a story out of it, it's an added bonus.
All right, James, it's been good talking with you. Before we get out of here, please, let us know where we can go online to get more information about what you're all about.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at James D. Beeks, and my website is jamesdbeeks.com. So you can find all my music on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, under James Delisco Beeks, my full name.
Hey, yo, thank you for listening to this episode of Fresh is the Word, hosted and produced by myself, Kelly K. Fresh Frazier, empowered by Anchor at anchor.fm/Fresh is the Word. Intro theme music by Foulmouth, Shimmy Bango, and Knox Money. Fresh is the Word is available on all major streaming platforms. Please rate and review on Apple Podcasts and Stitcher. If you want to support Fresh is the Word, please consider pledging via Patreon at patreon.com/Fresh is the Word. Follow Fresh is the Word on social media on Twitter at Fresh is the Pod, on Instagram at Fresh is the Word Podcast, and join the Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Fresh is the Word. For more information about Fresh is the Word and our other podcasts, Breaking Records and Renaissance Soul, and a collection of pop culture articles and reviews, please visit freshasthepodcast.com. Thank you for listening and your support. Goodbye and good night.
Fresh is the word.